What's going on YouTube? So even though some brands have called it quits on sedans entirely, they remain a very important and very competitive segment, especially mid-sizers. Hyundai is aware of this, which is why this generation of Sonata has a very bold design, and also why they're making incremental updates every year to make it more competitive against the strong competition. But without wasting any time, let's go ahead and dig right in and see what's new for 2022 and if this is the midsize sedan you should buy. So let's go ahead and kick things off here with the exterior design, which is certainly very distinctive with this generation. So up here in the front, you got a few different fascias you can choose between, but most of them are gonna have this really large grille, which takes up the vast majority of the front end, and it also has this gloss finish. Now, if you choose the inline model, that's gonna make it slightly more aggressive with different elements over here, and if you choose the base SE model, it'll be slightly more conservative with just kind of some more basic chrome bars. But let's talk about something that's definitely not basic, and that is your headlight design. Very unique design. It's going to be full LED on all of the models. If you choose this top-end limited, you're going to have the more advanced projector matrix LED lights. But the most distinct element remains the daytime running light. It runs through here, but it also goes up through this piece of chrome all the way up here to the hood. So that certainly stands out a lot. This is included on all the models except for the base SE, so that's new for 2022. The base SE will no longer have this part of the daytime running light. Instead, this will just be one solid piece of chrome. Now moving next to our wheels, you have a ton of different choices for these as well. You're going to start out with a 16-inch alloy on the base model, but it moves up to 17-inch alloys, 18-inch alloys, which will be what you have here on this limited with this contrast finish. And then the SEL Plus as well as the N-Line, those come with more distinct looking 19-inch alloys. I do want to mention something that's new for 2022 though, related to the N-Line, and that's that there's now a N-Line Night Edition. Now Hyundai has not released pictures of what this is going to look like yet, but they have mentioned that it will have a full black 19-inch alloy wheel. It will also come with red brake calipers and a few other black accents around the rest of the vehicle. And then coming up here to your mirrors, all but the base model will have heating as well as blind spot monitoring.
Now here at the Scion, the limited trim, I want to point just a few things out. One thing is going to be that you're going to have the really nice chrome door handles. That's also included on the inline model. And then if we come around to the rear design of the Sonata, nothing has really changed back here for 2022, but it does continue with that very unique design for the segment. A lot of that has to do with the taillights, so I'll go ahead and talk about that first. As you can see, we have a full-length LED taillight that kind of comes up and around and then goes across the entire back. Looks really cool at nighttime. These are going to be full LED taillights if you opt for the limited trim or the inline. And then in between them, you are going to have an integrated lip spoiler. It's black on the inline, or if you go for that new inline black package, that will be carbon fiber. Dropping down below that, we have our Sonata branding. And then as far as the lower diffuser area, all of the normal engine models will have the dual exhaust here on the right side. If you go for the inline, you're going to add quad exhausts. Now, one of the nice things about the Sonata is that they're going to throw in every single safety system standard equipment, even on the very base model. So that's going to be forward emergency braking with pedestrian detection, lane keeping assist, auto high beams, and adaptive cruise control. Well guys, we appreciate you making it this far in the video. If you haven't hit that subscribe button already, please go ahead and do that. Also follow us on our other social medias like Instagram and TikTok. But now let's go ahead and check out the inside.
So taking a look at our key fob here, of course you do have the typical Hyundai fob, and you will have the smart entry system standard on the SEL and above. The SEL Plus will add the digital key system, which allows you to unlock the car with a key card or with your Android phone. And then finally, here with the limited trim level, that's what's going to throw in the smart parking system, which you can control via those two buttons right there. And to get inside the vehicle, of course, just reach behind the handle, it will unlock. And taking a look inside of the cabin, course, this is still a pretty fresh and new product, so you're not going to see any significant design changes for 2022. Now with the Sonata, you do have a wide variety of different interior color and material options. So your SE and your SEL trim levels will come standard with cloth seating. SEL Plus, a leatherette seat with suede inserts. The inline comes with Napa leather trimmed seats with a suede insert. And then this limited trim level, which is what we have today, this comes with real leather in your choice of black, gray, or camel color options. Now turning over here to your door trim, it is very nicely finished. As you can see, we do have a color matched armrest here with the stitching detail. You have leather that runs across it right here, and it is soft touch along the top. Only the limited trim level is going to throw in these 2-person memory seating. And then over here you have your one-touch auto up and down driver and passenger windows. Heading down here to your seats, all but the base model is going to come with an 8-way power adjusting seat with 2-way lumbar support. If you go for the inline, you will have power adjusting bolsters. And then, like I was mentioning, this does have the real leather seating. Very nice looking seat, also a very comfortable seat, and I like the different perforation designs right here in the middle. Now once you're inside the cabin, you will see a very nicely finished place, especially here with the limited trim level. So on the upper part of the dashboard, this is going to be a hard touch plastic. However, all of this area that runs through this section is going to be finished in a very nice leatherette material with a color contrast stitching detail. Got the nice silver accent. All through the middle is going to be nicely padded. As we move down below, we have piano black through here. We also have kind of a faux aluminum trim that runs through here. And everything does fit together very well, although the limited trim does not include a leather pad along the side like some of the competition. Now to start it up, put your foot on the brake and press the button. And right as soon as you start it up, you will be greeted with what is one of my favorite elements of the Sonata's interior, and that is its 12.3-inch full reconfigurable gauge cluster. As you can see, really nice crispy design here. Nice graphics. This is included on the SEL Plus and above. And of course it does change designs if you change drive mode, stuff like that. And the inline does come with a little bit different design as well. Now on the limited trim level, if you signal to the right or the left, that's going to activate your blind view camera system, which gives you that live feed of your blind spot. And in addition to that, only the limited trim is going to throw in this head-up display, which you can barely see here because of the angle of the camera, but there you go. All right, now coming back to the steering wheel, the vast majority of Sonatas will come with this nice leather-wrapped steering wheel. As you can see, it's got the 4-spoke design, which is a little bit different from a lot of models. As far as the wheel itself, it is going to be manual tilt and telescoping, and then the limited trim level will come with standard steering wheel heating. You can also option that on to some of the lower trim levels as well. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about interior storage now. Go ahead and lift up our center console here. Once you do that, you're going to find a lot of space. So this is a really generously sized center console, quite deep, quite wide. There's a felt lining down there at the bottom, which is a little hard to see. But let's put it to the test. Time for the coupons. Here we go. Fits in there just fine. We don't even have to fold them in half, so that's very good. Up in front of that, we've got 2 cup holders. You have a little slot where you can stand up your cell phone, and then you have a really generously sized bin right here. As you can tell, this is a wireless phone charging pad. That's going to be included on SEL Plus and above trim levels. You also have your other USB and 12-volt connections above that. Now, one of the most interesting elements of this cabin design is the fact that we have a electronic shifter is kind of raised up here on this piano black bump. This is included on all the models. Of course, you're just going to press D for drive. SEL Plus, Limited, and of course the inline are going to come with paddle shifters up on the steering wheel. And then pressing R will take you into reverse. When you do that, you will be greeted with a standard backup camera on all the models with active trajectory. However, excuse me, if you want parking sensors, you're going to have to get the limited trim level, which is going to throw in this 360-degree camera system, Really nice resolution on this. You can switch between several different angles like so. Additionally, the mirrors on the Limited do tilt down when in reverse to help you see the parking lines better. Of course, the P is for park. Back here you will find your auto brake hold, and you do have an electronic parking brake that's located right over here. As we rise up above that, we've got our climate controls. Hyundai's throwing in dual zone automatic climate control on all but the very base model, which will have a manual setup instead. As you can see, really nice knobs here to make your adjustments super easy. Everything is laid out nicely right there. Additionally, you have this little toggle, which is going to give you access to your 3-stage heated seats, which are also included on all but the very base model. However, if you want seat ventilation, that's going to require going to this fully loaded Limited trim. Okay, and now let's take a look at our audio systems, or rather take a listen to them. So you're going to have a standard 6-speaker sound system. The SEL Plus and above will give you the Bose premium sound system with 12 speakers, which is a change for 2022. I should mention that the SEL Plus now has standard tech package for 2022, so there's a few features. One of those is this Bose sound system being included on that trim level standard equipment now. So let's go ahead and give it a sample. Yeah, so overall sound quality of this system is certainly excellent, really solid, a lot of bass, and fills up the cabin very well. Okay, so now we'll take a look next up at our displays. So this is the 10.25 inch display. This is the largest display. It's included on SEL Plus, Limited, and Inline trim levels. The other 2 trim levels will come with a little bit smaller 8-inch display instead. Now, as far as the feature set on board here, of course you're running the latest Hyundai software. Nice and responsive. You will have built-in navigation if you go for this larger display, or a model with larger display rather. You'll also have standard Android Auto and standard Apple CarPlay abilities. However, if you choose one of the lower end models with the 8-inch display, that will be wireless Android Auto and wireless Apple CarPlay, whereas if you have the larger display, it is the wired variety. Coming up here to your mirror, this is auto dimming with 3 HomeLink universal remotes, standard on SEL Plus and above. And of course up here we have the panoramic sunroof with a really fast sunshade, I will add. This is also included on SEL Plus and above.
Well guys, I'm back doing the rear seat again, and I'm in the Sonata Limited today. And as far as the space is concerned, I want to talk about that first. So as you can see, there is a lot of space back here. The actual legroom figures come in at 35 inches of legroom, 38 inches of headroom. I do think that legroom figure is a little bit off from what it actually is, because as you can see, I have a full leg brace on and I have it loosened just a little bit, and my feet can't actually fit back here. So there is a lot of space, and that puts it like 5 inches smaller than a Camry or a Accord, and it really doesn't feel that much smaller. Now, as far as behind rear seating position though, I have, for my regular knee, I have about 8 to 10 inches of legroom. Now, as far as the features they've thrown in, here on the Limited trim, we are going to have a really nice feature set. So we have vents here in the middle. That's going to come on the SEL Plus trim and higher. We also have a charging USB port below that. One thing I do want to point out is heated rear seats are not available on the Sonata, which is something I would like to see them add. But we do have a fold-down armrest with cup holders inside. Now walking up to the trunk of the Sonata, as you can see, we do have the hands-free smart opening system, which is a really nice touch to include. And as far as the space itself is concerned, back here we have 16 cubic feet in the Sonata's trunk. That does actually best the Toyota Camry. It's a little bit less than the Honda Accord though, but overall a lot of space for the segment. Now, as far as the features I've thrown in, we do have 60/40 split folding rear seats. As you can see, the trunk was dampened really nicely. Then if we lift up the cargo floor here, we do have a spare tire up under the floor. Now, the limited trim is going to throw in the 6-way power adjusting passenger seat, which is actually quite handy for people like this. And then as far as the glove box is concerned, we have a really nice size glove box. For those of you who don't know, we do actually own a Hyundai Sonata, and they definitely fit in our coupons just fine. So we certainly don't have any issues with that. And then off here on the side, we have a little additional storage. And up top, we have a sun visor. We have some lighting as well as a mirror. And it does also detach and extend.
All right, and there's a quick acceleration with this Sonata. A little bit of brake test too.
Yes, 60 to 0 brake test in there as well.
But yeah, so this is the limited trim level. This is going to come with the 1.6 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. It's going to be making 180 horsepower, 195 pound-feet of torque. It definitely feels pretty strong off the line. You can definitely tell the torque as well. So this engine is what's going to come on SEL Plus and limited trim levels. The SE and the SEL will come with a 2.5 liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder instead. Interestingly, that actually makes a little bit more horsepower,
less torque,
a little less torque as well. So it's a little trade-off.
Yeah.
I believe this gets better fuel economy as well. So you have that option, and then obviously the inline is what people are going to be interested in if you want a lot of performance. We can speak personally to that, having just recently bought one. That gives you way more performance. It's going to be quite quick at that point. 290
horsepower, 311 pound-feet of torque, and that thing will burn out. So if you want to watch a review on that, we do have that, of course, on the channel. And the hybrid model is also offered, so you have 4 different configurations here. That will also be covered in a separate review. You know, while we're cruising along here, I want to talk about the ride quality of the Sonata. That's one of the things that I've always loved about this vehicle, is that it really just rides so comfortable. It's a beautiful part about having a midsize sedan is that these are family focused, but also can have some sport if you go for the sporty trim levels. And it really is just so comfortable here in the Limited. The seats are amazing, the ride quality is great, and it's also just very quiet in here. I'll get a sound level reading too while we're at it. 57.2, so really good sound level reading on this model.
Right, and I can definitely tell that this does ride softer for sure than the inline that we have.
Yeah.
Obviously that's going to have, you know, tighter suspension, bigger wheels. I put it in a sport mode before I took off there, and you know, you can definitely tell the difference, especially in the throttle response. Really nice and sharp in getting that off the line. So let's also talk about a couple things. So we have the 8-speed automatic transmission. That, of course, is what's included on the vast majority of models. The inline has its own dual clutch, which is, you know, obviously going to go with the sporty ability of that. But as far as with this limited trim level, this is a very comfort-oriented transmission, nice and responsive, blends into the background. You don't really feel it or anything like that. The one thing to point out is that this is front-wheel drive only across the entire model range. Some of the competition, including the related Kia K5, actually offer all-wheel drive, but that continues to not be available on the Sonata.
And let's go ahead and discuss the fuel economy. So for the SEL Plus and Limited trims, they're going to be coming in at 31 miles a gallon combined. That's actually going to be the same rating as the naturally aspirated engine combined. So those are also going to come in at 31. If you go for the inline, that's going to be 27. And of course the hybrid's going to be even better than that. So really your entire gamut of different fuel economy options for the Sonata, whichever one you prefer. Now it is airball and slam dunk time for the Sonata. Drew will kick us off with the slam dunk.
So we were thinking just the sheer amount of features that are thrown in with this limited trim level. I mean, there's really nothing that you can point to that you're missing, We had a pressed Genesis GV80, which cost, well, about twice this much.
Yeah.
And really, you can't really point to much. Obviously, the luxury is different, but as far as the feature set, you got the same stuff and the same tech inside of this as you do inside of that.
Yeah, it's
so
impressive.
It's really impressive for the price that this comes in at.
And airball, we're just going to say subjective styling. This is really, it's hard to come up with an airball for this vehicle, so that's what we're just going to say. Obviously, it doesn't bother us. We own one, but it is not for everyone.
Yeah, some people don't. It's controversial.
Yeah.
Let's put it that way.
But let's go ahead and talk about the pricing. So the SE is going to be $24,150. That goes all the way up to the top of the line Limited, which is going to start at $34,100. This one, as equipped with the optional paint and the destination charge of $1,005, is coming in at $35,909.
But in conclusion, the Sonata continues to impress us. Obviously, as we discussed, we have recently purchased an inline Sonata, so that shows you that we definitely like the vehicle. But, taking out any type of bias or anything like that, this is a really, really solid midsize sedan. It offers a lot of features, a lot of space. You have really great technology. And one of the key things with a Hyundai product is the price tag on this is a good value compared to the competition. So when you consider all those things, really, I think that the Hyundai Sonata should be on your list for sure if you're shopping for a midsize sedan.
Well guys, thanks for tuning in to this in-depth review of the 2022 Hyundai Sonata Limited. If you made it this far in the video, hopefully that means you enjoyed watching, so be sure to hit that subscribe button down below. It's completely free. All it's going to do is give you notifications on our most recent content, and we will have a lot of it coming up on the Hyundai lineup, as well as this competitor set, such as like the Toyota Camry. Anyway, we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.